Good morning, students. Class 7th. Today we will start our bio chapter number 3, Kingdom Classification. Students, there are nearly 30 million varieties of living organisms on our earth, students, and they are not similar. Okay, people you see on your road, they look different from each other. Okay, some are taller, some are shorter, and some are darker, some are light, having light skin. Animals also are different in their size, shape, and everything. So students, here in this chapter we will see on the basis of this common characteristics what happens. Biologists separate all of the organisms into certain specific groups. Okay, and this concept leads to the idea of classification, students. Before that, students, just have a look on this enrichment, that the branch of biology that deals with the classification of organisms, that is called taxonomy. Okay, students, so the scientists who work in this field are known as taxonomists. Okay, underline this and you have to learn this. Now students, come back that what is classification. Students, the scientific way, underline this, the scientific way of identifying, naming and grouping of living organisms. Okay, that is called classification, and it is an universal, students, universal system. Okay, of what? Of arranging the living organisms based on similarities and differences between them. So now students, just have a look on the definition once again, that scientific way of identifying, the naming, grouping of the living organism, that is called classification. Okay, now what are the bases of classification, students? All living things are broadly classified into plants and animals. Okay, and they are different from each other. First of all, on what sense? On what aspects? That animals can move from one place to another in search of food and shelter, but we see that plants are not moving. Plants make their own food, but animals are dependent on plants and other organisms, other animals, right? So students, we classify living organisms on the basis of certain characteristics, like which? Like movement, mode of nutrition. Like, what is the advantage of this classification, students? Classification of living organisms are having the following advantages. What? It provides a systematic and simple approach for the study of various organisms. Second, it helps in identifying new organisms and placing them in specific groups also. Students, it generalizes the characteristics of a group. Okay. Third, it highlights the relationship between the organisms and it gives an idea about how the organisms are evolved from simpler form to which form to complex form. So what is the history of classification, students? Greek philosopher was there, students, Aristotle. He was the first to classify animals on the basis of simple visible characters like presence or absence of red blood, while whether the body covering is hard or soft, like this. His pupil Theophrastus, what he told, he was the first to classify plants as what? As herbs, shrubs and trees. On which basis? On the basis of their size. Both the above mentioned system are classification are known as, students, artificial system of classification. Why? Because they are based on the artificial characters that could be the difference in their origin, internal structures and function. Like neem and pine tree, both trees are likely to be placed in the same group, but both have the number of different characteristics. Neem plant bears flowers and fruits, while pine plants do not have these flowers and fruits. Like animals, both birds and insects are having wings, so were placed in the same group. But students, we can see many differences in both of these organisms. Students, in 1758, there was one scientist, Linnaeus. He gave two kingdom classification. And student, it is the most scientific method of classification. He classified all the organisms into two groups, into two kingdoms. First, plantae, and second, animalia. Plantae, plants that could prepare food by their own, and animalia, animals that depend on plants directly or what, indirectly, for their what, for their food, students. So students, but what happened, he failed to categorize the some few organisms, like whom, like euglena, like viruses. Euglena, it is an organism which is having chlorophyll like plants, but it is not having cell wall. So it is not grouped in under plants and not nor in animals. Likewise, virus also, which are the non-living particles and behave like living when they come in contact with the living cell, students. So there are some this type of shortcomings that lead to the idea of a new system of classification. Okay, students, and that is known as five kingdom classification. So what is this five kingdom classification, students? Five kingdom classification is that Thomas Whitaker, in 1969, an American plant biologist, he proposed this system. In this system, students, organisms can be classified into five kingdoms. What are they? Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae, and animalia. So one by one here we will study. First of all, the kingdom Monera. Students, it is the group of most primitive type of organisms. What are the characteristics of this kingdom? First of all, they are unicellular organisms. Okay. Second, they do not have well-defined nucleus. Clear? They lack many other cell organelles also. Like plants, they have an outer covering. What is that called? I have told you earlier also that it is called cell wall. And some of them, students, are autotrophic. What are autotrophic, students? Those who make their own food. While here some may be heterotrophic also. What are heterotrophics? Those who cannot make their own food. Okay. Now what are the examples of this kingdom? We will study about bacteria. Bacteria is the example. They are strictly unicellular and they do not have nucleus. Some bacteria are, students, autotrophic, but most of them may be heterotrophic. Where they are found? Students, bacteria are found in all the places, everywhere. A large number of bacteria occur in animals and in human bodies also. And they can live both in the presence or absence of oxygen and in extreme cold and hot climatic conditions also. What are the structure of bacteria? Listen, students, I am showing you the structure of bacteria here. Okay, nucleoid is there. Nuclear material is scattered everywhere. Cell wall, cytoplasm, ribosome, capsule is there, cell membrane, flagella. Okay, like this. Now we will study. Students, bacteria have a simple structure. It is having a capsule around the cell membrane, and they do not have a proper nucleus also. Nuclear material is scattered in the cytoplasm and is known as nucleoid. Their cell wall is made up of what? Chitin, and its size varies from 0.2 to 100 microns. Students, in bacterium cell, ribosomes are scattered all through the cytoplasm. And most of the bacteria cannot move, but students, some bacteria move with the help of flagella. Okay students. Now what are the shapes of bacteria? Students, bacteria are having four types of shapes: cocci, bacilli, spirilla and vibrio. So first of all we will study about the cocci. Students, look here, the three shapes given here: spiral shape, round shape and rod shape. Okay. Now first of all, cocci, they are spherical in shape students, and they may be true spheres, helmet shaped or kidney shaped. Okay. And it is found, if it is found in pairs, they are called diplococci. In irregular clusters they are called staphylococci, and if they are found in chain they are called streptococci. Okay. Then comes the bacilli. These are rod shaped students bacteria, and they may be single or they may formed into chains also, and they are they fed on what, dead organic materials. Okay. And they are responsible for the spoilage of food. Okay students. Spirilla, these are spirally coiled structures students, and they are two types of spirilla: short rods that are slightly bent and rigid spirals. And vibrious students, these are short, curved, and or we can say that they are comma shaped. Acute diarrheal diseases that is called cholera is due to vibrio cholerae. Okay students, we will continue now in the next video. Thank you.